What's going on, everyone? So, the Los Angeles Lakers are second best odds to land Jimmy Butler. The Brooklyn Nets are actually number one. It's kind of because we talked about the Brooklyn Nets a while back. Also, Giannis supposedly wants the Brooklyn Nets. Brooklyn Nets might have Jimmy Butler, Giannis. Like, every star apparently wants to go to Brooklyn and play for the Nets, which I think is interesting. We'll see, like, what the Nets decide to do. They actually have their pick this year, and they've been good, right? They haven't been, like, great or anything like that, but they've been a pretty good basketball team. Dennis Schroeder has been, like, ridiculous this year for them. Cam Johnson, Cam Johnson, too, is on that team. He's having himself a season, right? They have several guys that have really kind of stepped up this year, but there is this kind of thought process of, like, it's probably in their best interest to just tank, right? Keep your pick, go get, a Cooper Flag or something like that. This draft is looked at as incredibly deep, incredibly talented, right? So kind of go that route. But on the other side, the East is so weak. I mean, literally, like, the Lakers right now are like sixth and like a game ahead of being 12th. And you just see how tight the Western Conference is, but you look out east, and the Lakers would be like the 3 seed. And it's just like, there's 3 teams that have over 500 record. I think it's like 4 teams now, but like, that's the point, right? Like, it's not, you go on one significant run. Even teams like the Sixers and the Bucks, who have just been absolute disasters. Now, the Bucks have been just because they're a bad team and old, but the Sixers, they've been without Paul George, Tyrese Maxey, and Joel Embiid, and still, you go on one significant win streak. You win 5 straight games, all of a sudden, you're like the 4 seed in the Eastern Conference. So Brooklyn's kind of looking at it as like, hey, if we make a push and go get a Jimmy Butler, they have Ben Simmons' contract, right, which that helps a lot in trying to chase another star. You go get Jimmy Butler, we have him locked up, maybe we kind of can work something out to go get Giannis in the offseason and kind of get back to being a contender, since we had Kyrie and Kevin Durant a couple years ago, right? Like, that's kind of the idea that kind of seems to be what Brooklyn is looking to do. If you get Jimmy Butler, maybe we can make a push, be a top 4 seed, right? Maybe make some noise in the playoffs. But from the Lakers standpoint, because it's a Lakers channel, right? So Jimmy Butler to the Lakers. Now, before I dive into it, I want to say no. Do not go get Jimmy Butler. Stay away from Jimmy Butler. I love Jimmy Butler, right? One of my favorite players to watch, especially playoff Jimmy, is just like marvelous. It's just like a sight to see. I love his attitude. I love his person. I do. I just think he's so fun. He's so entertaining, right? That doesn't mean I want him on the Lakers. One, I don't think he'll fit well. He's not a guy that shoots threes. Yes, he can defend. Yes, he can just take over games. We've seen him do it. Yes, I do love that Jimmy Butler is a guy that, even though he's a star, is willing to do the dirty work. Like, most stars don't want to do the dirty work. That's why you go get guys like Alex Caruso and stuff like that. But Jimmy Butler, whether he scores 6 or 60, he doesn't care, right? As long as he's winning the game. So I don't necessarily think fit would be an issue, because I think Jimmy Butler would just fit right in. I think he would do whatever it took to fit with Anthony Davis and LeBron and try to go win championships. But I just don't think he's what we need. We need legit versatility, guys that can knock down threes, guys that can do the dirty work. We do need a legit third option, but I would prefer a better natural scorer. So I'd like either just like, a natural bucket getter, right? Where Jimmy Butler, yes, he can get a bucket. His nickname is Jimmy Buckets, but he's not this like taking guys off the dribble, step back, pull up 3, and transition 3, crossing dudes up. Like, he's more getting to his spot, getting to the mid-range, that little elbow, right? He's more of operating in the mid-range, but also he's 35. His injury history has not been great. I mean, even Pat Riley's called him out on his injury history. The last time Jimmy Butler has played 70 games was back in 2016-2017. The most since then was 65 games in 2018-2019. Since then, he played 10 games, 55 games, 58 games, 52 games, 57 games, 64, 60, and 80. Now, you could argue, as long as he's playing around 65 games, like, you're fine. But I would almost rather, like, if you're going to take a chance on Jimmy Butler, right? Because the argument is like, oh, he's expiring, so if it doesn't work, you let him walk and you clear it off. You essentially wiped your books, and LeBron can take a new contract and you can just kind of restructure. Go get Brandon Ingram is kind of my thoughts, right? Brandon Ingram would probably be cheaper. 2, would Miami even trade Jimmy Butler to the Lakers because of LeBron? Right? Like, would Pat Riley really do something like that? I don't know. Even if he would, I don't like the idea of Jimmy Butler. I'd rather you, again, go get Brandon Ingram and see if that works. Brandon Ingram gives you the same type of mid-range level. Obviously, he's not, playoff Jimmy, right? We've seen what playoff Jimmy can do. But I think Brandon Ingram as your third option would be fine. Gives you the defense, gives you rebounding, can make plays, do a little bit of everything, right? Like, I would rather take the flyer on that, personally. But it's just everything you'd have to send out. You'd have to send out like $50 million in salary and stuff like that. And like, I don't know if Jimmy is that piece that makes you contender. I would almost rather you go get Trae Young. And I'm not really sold on Trae Young either, because I worry. Trae Young and Anthony Davis make all the sense in the world. Trae Young, Anthony Davis, and LeBron James. That's where I kind of go, can LeBron and Trae coexist is the thing. And can Trae fit in this style of offense? I think Jimmy would fit in this style of offense. I think Jimmy would be good for the Lakers. I don't know if he is the impact guy to the level in which the Lakers need. I would rather go get multiple guys. Like, I think, personally, like a Bruce Brown, Cam Johnson, and Jonas Valanciunas would do more overall for this team than Jimmy Butler plus a bunch of like G League vet minimum guys so you could fill out a roster. Like, I just think that would be more beneficial, right? And his age, like, yes, he fits LeBron and AD's timeline, but I'd rather go get a Brandon Ingram where if it works, right? Well, now you have at least Ingram and Anthony Davis, and then you can build around those two post LeBron. And then, or, if it's a Trae or something like that, like you have Trae and Anthony Davis, and Trae could be your piece even after Anthony Davis, right? Like, because he's so young. I'm not like a huge fan. Plus, again, besides the injury history, Jimmy Butler has just not been great this season, right? Like, so let's break this down. Through 8 games, he's averaging 31 minutes, which he's already missed a couple games already. He's dealing with some little nagging stuff. He's averaging 11.3 field goals a game, which, he's always been kind of like a 13 to 14 field goal game guy. He's never really been that like 20 field goal attempts. Like, the most field goal attempts he's ever taken in a season was just shy of 16. He averaged 15.7. So 11.3, which is why, like, you could argue it makes sense for him as a third option, right? Because you're just asking him to take 13 attempts a game, so LeBron and AD could still be LeBron and AD, and Jimmy Butler could do the dirty work. But field goal percentage, 47.8%, 3-point range, although it's only on 1.6 attempts. Again, he rarely takes threes. He's averaging 15.4%. Yeah, 15.4% from 3-point range. Now, from 2-point range, he is averaging 53.2%, has an EFG of 58.9%, 73.2% from the foul line on 7 attempts. He's given you basically 16, 5, and 5. 16.1 points, 4.8 rebounds, 4.9 assists. He's averaging 1.5 steals. Will be nice to round up half a block, 1.8 turnovers. He's giving you third option numbers, right? Like, so again, on paper, not the 3-point percentage. Obviously, you'd prefer better 3-point percentage. It just, for me, it boils down to his age, right? His injury history, and the contract along with the lack of 3-point shooting. I think during the regular season, right, if Jimmy's giving you, say, 16, 5, and 5 on efficiency, he's going to give you those games where he just is hot, takes over, right? LeBron gets the night off, boom, he takes over. I think during the regular season, you're going to be great, but my concern would be during the playoffs, right? Austin Reeves is incredibly inconsistent shooting the 3-ball, and that's if you can even keep Austin Reeves in a trade for Jimmy Butler, but let's assume that you can, right? Austin Reeves has not been great shooting the 3-ball. Jimmy Butler can't shoot threes. LeBron James, yes, is probably your best 3-point shooter on the basketball court. Anthony Davis has been much improved, but he's not taking 7, 8 threes a game, right? So, like, what are teams going to do? They're just going to pack the paint. Teams are just going to literally camp out in the paint and just say, we'll trust Jimmy shooting threes. We'll trust LeBron, let LeBron take 10 threes. I'd rather that than him driving to the hoop every possession, right? Like, I have concerns about how our offense would flow. Now, could JJ Redick kind of offset some of that? Sure, it's very possible, right? Like, look, if it happened, I'm not going to be like, oh, like, I can't believe this. Lakers are cooked now. It's a wrap. Like, no, I'll be excited. Like, I'll be pumped. I just don't think it's what's best for the Lakers. Right? I like Jimmy Butler. Dude, he's one of my favorite players to watch. I just don't think he's what we need on the Lakers. Again, I'd rather go take a flyer on a Brandon Ingram. Also, Brandon Ingram, like, Jimmy Butler's probably still going to get a max, right, from, like, a team like Brooklyn or whatever. I don't know which team would be willing to give Brandon Ingram a max. Right? Like, if you're like, I'd rather just go get Brandon Ingram and then, give him $25 million going forward, which I think he's worth more than that, but that's probably what he's going to get. Like, Brandon Ingram's going to be one of the first, like, significant casualties due to the CBA, right? Like, contract-wise, because he's a guy that probably would have gotten 30 to 40 million from somebody, but now with the new CBA, probably lucky to get 25 to 30 million. But I don't know. Those are my thoughts and opinions. I'm not, like, big on the idea of Jimmy Butler. Again, if it happens, sure. Like, I'll be excited, right? Like, playoff Jimmy is still playoff Jimmy. Playoff Jimmy's still a thing, right? You give me Jimmy Butler, Anthony Davis, and LeBron James on paper, that's tough. I just worry about the rest of the roster, right? Because you're trading everything to go get Jimmy Butler. And, like, how does the rest of the roster look? Like, what's your 5 beyond that? Like, let's say you keep Austin Reeves, so you're going like Reeves probably as your point, Cam Reddish, Jimmy Butler, LeBron James, Anthony Davis. Like, Lakers struggle shooting the 3-ball now. Could you imagine that? Like, I don't know about the floor spacing. There's ways to space the floor beyond shooting threes, but threes definitely help. But again, however you feel, whatever your thoughts are, I love to hear it. So let me know down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. We enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.